Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome.
If you drive a car, I'll tax the street. If you try to sit, I'll tax your seat. If you get too cold, I'll tax the heat. If you take a walk, I'll tax your feet. Tax
It's tax day. Happy tax day to you. Put off 3 days this year because 15th fell on Saturday.
Wow, what a kind government
Right?
we serve.
Kind, understanding, and just that velvety soft touch. It's just great.
Now, when I wrote the check this year, I started to write it out to Volodymyr Zelensky, but they don't like that. They want
weird.
They want to cut first.
I guess so.
The federal government wants their...
Yeah, because you should. I mean, you'd save money by just sending it directly to him.
Yeah. So I don't know how much a stamp to Ukraine costs, but I was this close to shopping for one.
You'd probably need a couple of stamps. I'm thinking in there, 66 cents now a piece? That's a lot. So, yeah. So you had to? Did you have to write out a check at the end of the year, or did you get a refund?
Brother, I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
It sucks to be.
I haven't gotten a refund for a long time.
It sucks to be. What can I say? At least we're writing checks to a government that uses the money wisely for good things.
Right.
Constitutional things.
That's the thing you feel so good about.
So when you're done writing the check, then you're like, man, I feel so patriotic now. And actually, who am I kidding? No, you just sit there. I love how this is how it works. You get to pick the day that they drain it from your bank account. They're like, so what day do you want us to just suck it right out?
How about never? How about the 12th of never? Would be nice. And
then one day you check your balance online. You're like, oh, that's right. That's the day I picked. Cool.
Yeah. I love my son's questions this year because both of them are, they got stuck and with taxation at the end of the year. And they're like, well, why don't people rebel over this? Why don't people say anything? Why aren't there protests? Why aren't people out in the streets? It's a good question. I don't know. We've gotten so used to it, of them, taking so much of our money.
Well, and there's also, it's been a system devised to make sure that you're keeping enough people receiving the benefits of our hard work and our taxes.
It'd be
they
great.
Don't rebel because they're not going to risk losing the handouts.
What would be great is if there was no withholding and you had to pay it all at the end of the year.
Yep.
Then we'd see change. That's the only time you would see a massive tax revolt in this country is if you saw it all come out at once, and, then you see whatever it is, whatever your income level is, and the percentage that they stick you. You see it all coming out at once, whether it's 10%, 20%, 40%, whatever it is. When it comes out all at once, then people would get pissed. It's hard for me to believe that they take so much out during the year, and then when you pay more, thousands and thousands of dollars more at the end of the year, you're not pissed, or you're just barely irritated enough to say, "Well, this isn't right," but here you go. I gotta do it. So, happy tax day. Should maybe see if anybody wants to share the largest check they had to write today. 888-900-3393. If you're writing out a nice size check to the IRS, we'd love to hear from you and see how you feel about it. Yeah. Or if you'd like to send that directly to Volodymyr Zelensky, like Keith wants to do.
Yeah. Let's see. The property of this is a quote from Calvin Coolidge. It's not the quote I was looking for. The property of the people belongs to the people. To take it from them by taxation cannot be justified except by urgent public necessity. Unless this principle be recognized, our country is no longer secure, our people no longer free.
Wow.
And that's where we're at.
Yep. Sure is. It's amazing how fast, how quickly we got used to it, because It had only been going on a few years when Calvin Coolidge was in office.
Well, it first started to pay for the Civil War.
Well, yeah, but then it ended.
Yeah, and
they ended it. If you can believe that. The U.S. government ended income tax after the war. They said, okay, this is only temporary, and it really was. And then I think, didn't they start out saying it was only temporary in 1914 or 15, whenever it began?
Well, the creature of Jekyll Island and the Federal Reserve and all that fun stuff. It was 1913, I believe.
Yeah, in there somewhere.
But they started off, you're right, they said it was...
temporary.
Yeah, well, and they said it was a certain amount. Was it like 3% or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then before you knew it, it was just like, joke's on you.
It escalated exponentially, too. It went up so far, so fast.
To the point where it topped off at 97% when you got to a certain
you imagine that?
Income level.
97%. Jeez.
Go to hell.
Unbelievable. We got a couple of nice little gifts from...
I love this thing. Yes.
Little note from... Is it Kevin? Yeah, Kevin Rocco and Kevin and Rebecca.
Racco?
Uh-huh.
Racco1 on Twitter. Thank you so much, sir.
We found these to be awesome and thought we would share. And they're these koozies, these metal koozies.
They're called Frost Buddies.
Nice.
See this?
So
it's like a 3-parter.
You just put your can in it, and it keeps it cold. Or I guess, I don't know, if you put coffee in there, it would keep it hot.
Turn it into a cup, too. See, if you don't have the beverage. See, there's a can right there. Like, you know, if you want to... Mm-hmm. I love this thing.
That's really cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We just watched, Pat and I watched a demonstration video online.
Yeah, because we couldn't figure. Well, wait, what do you
it
do
feels
with
like
this?
a koozie, but yeah, it's so cool. Thank you, Racco. You're awesome.
Yeah. 888-900-3393. Also, Pat Unleashed on Twitter. The administration yesterday sent the press home at 9:03.
Right?
9:03. Okay, day's done. It's over. Biden's going to sleep. Joe's going to bed. So everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. 9:03 a.m.
You just got back from a vacation. You spent time at the beach. And in fact, what are we up to now? We are up, I believe, over a year's worth of office. The man's been on vacation. Let me see how many days we're
over
up.
1 year of the year and a half he's been in office?
Well, yeah, that's... What are we at? 2+ years.
Jeez.
So, but he has, I'm trying to find it.
2.5 years.
327 days he's been on vacation.
That's incredible.
It's totally,
oh my gosh.
So, but honestly, you don't need a Joe Biden to do what they're doing. I mean, he is just a vessel for Marxist policy.
Yeah.
They have the levers of power. They're going to keep pushing the buttons and turning the keys. They don't need him.
Man, oh man.
He's just there to deliver the message.
327
days on vacation in the last...
that's incredible.
What are we, 27 months in office?
What was it for Trump? That's got to be more in
it's
2.5 years than he did in 4. Yeah. That has to be 327 days. You're right. It's almost a year on vacation. Wow, that's a pretty good deal.
So grand total.
Yeah, for
in
Trump.
4 years for Trump, 381.
Okay, so
all right.
Wow.
So
jeez. That's
he's
going to
shatter
that,
that.
Actually.
Yeah, but
he's good. That's probably going to be an all-time record. Sure. And they'll say, "Well, come on, he's 80. He's got to have some time off." Oh, okay. All right. Also, yesterday, the Republican-run House Judiciary Committee took a field trip to New York City. Here's the committee's video setting the stage for why they went there. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to hear.
The system continues to fail us. We are not safe anymore.
Alvin Bragg says it is time to keep his campaign promise of criminal justice reform.
No neighborhood is safe in New York City right now.
random attack on a 4-year-old boy in broad daylight in the heart of the city. The suspect, a man who's been arrested at least 40 times before.
With just days on the job, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is changing how some crimes will be prosecuted.
He says he'll stop seeking prison sentences for some criminal charges and will downgrade some felony charges.
Alvin Bragg.
A brutal attack on a woman walking down the sidewalk, knocked to the ground with a single punch. Her attacker arrested 40 times before.
The last 5 hours, we've had 3 shooting incidents in the northern part of Manhattan.
In less than 42 hours in the city over the weekend, 5 men were fatally shot or stabbed across 3 boroughs.
It was a violent holiday weekend around the city, leaving 5 people dead.
New NYPD data shows felony transit crimes are on the rise.
3 subway murders have been recorded in the past 2 weeks alone.
A 15-year-old is the latest fatal victim in the New York City subway system. Police say the stabbing was unprovoked, and the victim was ambushed by an unknown suspect while exiting a northbound 4 train.
There you go.
So crime. They're there for crime.
They're there for crime, yeah. And in fact, I'm looking for this stat. Over a third, I believe, of robberies in New York City are from the same 300 people that just accumulate. Like, they just get booked, rebooked, let out, because that's the way Alvin Bragg wants it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the mayor called it the safest big city in America. Oh,
that's cute.
Okay, that's great.
That's good.
Matt Gaetz addressed the victims, the many victims of crime, and their families who told their story after heartbreaking, one after another, of loved ones that they've lost to crime in the city, and in many cases suffered the crime themselves.
We are here in New York is because you have Democrats, you have citizens calling for some relief from this pain, and we are here not to use anyone, but to uplift the voices of brave people who are here to tell their story. Ms. Brame, do you feel used in this hearing?
Gentleman's recognized.
Ms. Brame, do you feel used?
Absolutely not.
Ms. Harrison?
I'm a willing participant.
Ms. Harrison, do you feel used? Tell you what, let me ask it this way. Do you feel more used by this committee hearing, or do you feel more used by a criminal justice system that allowed people to kill people that you love and care about with no consequence?
The latter, and I'm beyond grateful for the opportunity to testify here on behalf of victims, because the Democrat Party, including Mr. Nadler and everybody here today, has ignored us in this city, and we need federal oversight.
Yeah. And the reason Gaetz is saying it like that is because Democrat for Democrat, they attempted to make it seem like, oh, look, the Republicans.
They're showboating.
Yep, they just, exactly. They're not being
and
genuine.
They're using these victims for their political agenda. Yeah, I can hear them now.
This was not a safe space for Democrats yesterday.
No, it doesn't sound like it. Madeline Bram, who lost her young Army vet son to violent crime in the city, was in attendance. And when Daniel Goldman was trying to minimize the event, she took offense.
Your experiences are devastating. But the problem is that this is a charade to cover up for an abuse of power, that they are going around talking incessantly outside of this hearing about Donald Trump. And the purpose of this hearing is to cover up for what they know to be an inappropriate investigation. Now, I look forward, many of you are in New York City.
You, please?
No, not right now, because I only have 20 seconds, I'm sorry. But I do want to
Don't insult my intelligence. You're not.
Hang on, the gentleman's time.
I'm not insulting your
You're trying to insult me like I'm not aware of what's going on here.
Thank you.
Okay? I'm fully aware of what's going on here.
Gentleman will suspend. Gentleman gets another 15 seconds.
Thank you.
That's why I walked away from the plantation of the Democratic Party.
Good.
Committee will be in order.
Ms. Brame, what I was about to say is that as a representative of this city, I look forward to working with you, with Ms. Harrison, Mr.
Sure you do. Sure he does. Of course he does. He can't wait to work with her, I'm sure.
It was... Okay, you remember when they went down to the border, they took their committee hearing down there, and no Democrats showed up.
Yeah,
right.
And the Democrats just stood back in D.C. and said they were grandstanding.
I just wonder. Part of me wonders if they thought that, hey, this committee meeting is in our backyard, New York City. We'll go up there. Mm-hmm. It did not, as the clips will demonstrate, did not go well for Democrats yesterday at this hearing.
And we'll show you more of that coming up in a minute. But first, got to remind you that, I mean, this audience, you are just the best ever. And when several of you came up with the idea to save lives by actually coming up with a whole machine for preborn and donating that to one of their clinics, the entire ultrasound machine, which was, I don't know, $15,000, and we set the goal as Mother's Day, and we got that done
shattered it
well before Mother's
Y'all are
Day.
Incredible.
Thanks to you, we've already raised enough to do the machine, and so we thought we'd do another one.
Yeah, I'm waiting for an update. I just sent a note this morning to the preborn folks to see where we stand on that one. And by the way, great news for the pro-lifers. This is so great, Pat. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned, and I think is it 13 states now that have enacted more pro-baby laws, the rate of abortion year to year in those states down 96%.
Jeez.
Remember we talked about 32,000 lives saved so far through those legislation?
Yep.
96% down.
That's fantastic. And more babies need to be saved. So these babies and their mothers actually need our help now more than ever, because while we're saving them in places like Texas and Utah and Indiana and Florida, other states are going into overdrive to try to abort babies. So please give the gift of life. If you'd like to help us out with the machine, you just go to preborn.com/Pat and enter in Pathead Machine, and your donation will go directly to that cause to buy the new ultrasound machine. Now, if you can afford $28, that donation will buy one ultrasound for a woman to actually see her baby and understand that is human life growing inside of her, that is a real baby. And when they do that, they're twice as likely to choose life. That's preborn.com/Pat, or you can dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. Pound 250, keyword baby. We'll keep you updated on the progress as we try to raise that the money for the second ultrasound machine. And remember, if you want to donate for the Pathead for the machine, just put Pathead Machine in when you go to preborn.com/Pat for Operation Pathead Machine.
Gray Unleashed.
So Democrats were laughed at and heckled during this event in New York yesterday, which is kind of surprising. They're in New York City.
Get a rope.
And Democrats are not being treated well here at this event. Why? Because people are sick and tired of crime. And they're sick and tired of Democrats not doing anything about it. In fact, doing the opposite. And that's letting criminals get back on the street and commit crime again. They were talking about one of these guys who had done something like this, been arrested 40 times.
Yeah.
How many times before you're finally just put in there and not let out again?
Do they not have jails?
I know.
I mean, a way to handle this?
You would think so. It is New York City. They've had crime there before.
I mean, this is a George Soros DA, Alvin Bragg, getting his way.
So here's Jerry Nadler experiencing the fun of being laughed at and mocked.
In Lower Manhattan for one reason and one reason only. The chairman is doing the bidding of Donald Trump. Committee Republicans designed this hearing to intimidate and deter the duly elected district attorney of Manhattan from doing the work his constituents elected him to do. They have demanded access to the inner workings of an ongoing criminal case.
Amazing. Pretty amazing to try to blame this event on Donald Trump. That stuff's getting pretty old, and I think people are just sick of it.
Yeah.
But it continued for Nadler as he continued to babble.
Power. It is, to use the chairman's favorite term, a weaponization of the House Judiciary Committee. I do not know if Mr. Trump will be found guilty
Do not know. Gentlemen, suspend. The gallery should commenting and let the gentleman from New York finish his statement.
No, Jim.
No, they really shouldn't. Because we know
We need this.
Jeez.
I mean, honestly, though, just we're at the point where you just have to laugh and mock. I've lost all respect for these higher offices. Respect the office, respect the procedure. We're at the point where they deserve to be openly mocked and ridiculed, and I appreciated the crowd in attendance
mocking and ridiculing.
Yes.
Hank Johnson spoke too, and he also heard from the audience.
But they're not. Wait, is this
Booted
Manhattan?
does.
This is an island.
Yeah,
They've descended
right.
on New York City using violent
Could
crime
it tip over
as their
and
pretext.
capsize?
The MAGA Republican extremists are not interested in gun
MAGA
violence
Republican extremists.
or even
Shut
knife
up.
violence. Republican witnesses who have used their time to criticize District Attorney Bragg have served as props in a MAGA Broadway production. The real purpose in coming to New York City.
Can we have order?
Hey. The real purpose in coming to New York City.
Gentlemen, will suspend.
No, Jim Jordan. No. We this is cathartic, actually. I enjoyed this a lot. They may think twice about these little field trips, the way this thing went yesterday.
What, the Democrats? Because the Republicans are probably they're gonna do more of these.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Jim Jordan's like, no, you got to suspend here because he's talking. It's like, nah.
He's feigning, no bias.
Right.
Okay. Same thing happened to Adam Schiff, though. All these guys just mocked, ridiculed, laughed at. Here's more.
It is the GOP leadership in Congress doing what it has done best for the last 6 years, and that is to act as the criminal defense counsel for Donald J.
Shut
Trump.
up, liar.
Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Capitol Police, gentlemen, will suspend. Capitol Police. Capitol Police will remove the gentleman from the audience.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Gentlemen.
Let me tell you this.
People are pissed.
Let me tell you this.
Tell us, Adam. Douchebag.
Donald J. Trump.
Gentlemen, will suspend. So we got order.
Thank you for being here.
Gentlemen, will suspend. The audience has to be in order. Capitol Police.
Well, I mean, they must have known this was going to happen.
Sir.
Anyway, and this goes on and on. Look, disrupting where you can't even communicate is one thing, but I didn't mind the laughing, and the you got to be kidding me, but you can't disrupt it. But I was surprised. So Capitol Hill Police get dragged up there to this whole thing?
I guess so.
That's interesting.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, there we go. It was a fun day yesterday. And again, Democrats think this is just a distraction from what Alvin Bragg is trying to do to Donald Trump. But in reality,
stupid.
Your city sucks, and somebody needs to talk about it.
Well, and crime is out of control.
Exactly.
In many localities. And, we've talked about this before. The situation for crime, especially violent crime, had been really under control for quite a while. For a long time.
Yeah.
It was completely ridiculous in the 80s and 90s. And then we got a handle on it in the 2000s and calmed it down a lot in cities like New York. And now it's spiraling again out of control. It's not to the point yet where it was in the 90s, but it's nowhere near as good as it was just a few years ago. And they're just allowing mobs to take over cities. This is really hard to watch. There's a mob of black youth surrounding and attacking a white woman. Now, are you hearing about this on CNN? Because if this was the other way around, we all know what the situation would be today in the media.
That would be the only story for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep. Yeah. Check this out.
This is over the weekend in Chicago. Now, there were no deaths in Chicago that I've seen from this
From this particular mob.
From like the whole, I'm sorry, they call it a teen takeover. It's a teen takeover.
And they just beat this white woman for no apparent reason. Wow.
So, you could see it was still daylight.
Yeah.
And then the sun went down.
Yeah, it got worse.
Teen
after dark
takeover, they're calling it.
Look at this.
So this is just a montage of the lawlessness in Chicago. I think it was Saturday night. Is that when this was? And so fights and jumping on cars and beating up random people, gunshots as you can hear.
Yeah, a couple people were shot.
Yeah. And now the police are on the scene, yeah.
There's not enough police to deal with this, though.
No. Like, what do you do? I mean, this is the third worldification of America happening before our eyes in every urban center.
Because of social media, a lot of these mobs are really easy to put together, and they can just start attacking people or looting shops and convenience stores.
Yep.
That's why a lot of businesses are closing in the inner cities because they can't ensure the safety of their employees, or they can't keep their products on the shelves because people come in and steal everything. Wow.
And it just goes on and on. Yeah.
Look at
Like just fights in the middle of the street where cars are going by. It's what was the name of the game? Oh gosh. What's the name of the game where you Grand Theft Auto? That's literally all that these big cities are anymore.
Yeah.
The video game Grand Theft Auto.
And so those were shots from Chicago. Then there was something going on in Los Angeles where a mob got together and broke into a convenience store and just cleaned it out. There's probably, looked like over 100 of them.
Teen takeover again?
Uh-huh. Yep.
So it's just the teen takeover.
They just they put it together on social media real quick. Everybody showed up and they busted into a convenience store and just cleaned it out. Not one arrest was made. Not one arrest.
By the way, back to Chicago, that's where the Democrat convention is going to be held. So I couldn't think of a more perfect city for the Democrats to be hanging out in than Chicago, Illinois, for their big 2024 Democrat convention. Can I just read this quote here from the mayor-elect? When does he get sworn in, by the way? The guy in Chicago replacing Beetlejuice, Brandon Johnson. He said, this is his response to the teen takeover there. It is not constructive to demonize youth who have otherwise been starved of opportunities in their communities. Our city must work together to create spaces for youth to gather safely and responsibly. So not in the street, I guess, swinging at each other. Under adult guidance and supervision to ensure that every part of our city remains welcome for both residents and visitors. Chicago, you're screwed and you're not coming back. I'm sorry to tell you. Good luck. That sounds like you got another winner of a mayor on the way.
Sure does. There's a viral video going around of a delivery driver who shows up with food, and then a high-speed chase happens right where he shows up, and he steps in and helps out.
Oh no. In the yard.
That's a high-speed chase.
Yeah.
That's a high-speed chase.
Okay. Should have handed her the food, but now you got her food. Come back with her food.
Oh my God, Yeager! Oh my God, Yeager! There's a high-speed chase.
The delivery driver's like, "Don't hit my car, bro."
No.
So the pizza guy trips the criminal who's trying to run from the scene. That's awesome.
That was
it's great.
I love this.
It's fantastic.
Stick that leg out, and
here he comes. All right, and boom,
busted. That's all the cops needed to catch him.
That's great. All right, more Pat Gray Unleashed coming up. tweets here. Cyclone tweets. Catching up on my Pat Unleashed podcasts. Heard you talk about the snitch bots in New York.
Oh, yeah. You left early that day.
You can see a synopsis of what can go wrong with this if you watch the documentary Axel on Netflix.
Okay.
And, of course, the other documentary, iRobot.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Axel. Sci-fi action 2018. A robotic dog develops a special friendship with Miles. Will go to anything to protect his new companion. Yeah, so you know how there's cameras everywhere. You just have to assume whenever you're out in public, you're being recorded somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading the story. It's like, it's essentially what this is, except for it's on a robot. It's like the little robot you see at like a Walmart or the dog and stuff. It just doesn't feel right because it moves, you know?
Yeah, right.
So it'll be interesting to see where this goes, but I'm sure it's nowhere good.
From Gears, people don't rebel against taxes because most don't have to cut those quarterly or annual checks. Yeah, that's what I said. If there's no withholding and you paid once and it was, your entire tax burden at the end of the year, that would make a difference. Then people would wake up and say, you know what? This is not right. No. Lawler, RN, tweets, had to write a check to taxes also. Really sucks. Lauren, I'd write my check straight to Ukraine if anyone could figure out if Zelensky is spelled with one or two Y's. Conservatarians tweets, we also need to move election day to the same day as tax day. As it stands, they're as far apart as possible.
Good point.
And that's really true. Anthony Osh, my 5-year-old says taxes are where they don't say please or thank you. He isn't wrong. Mackenzie makes regarding Pete Buttigieg yesterday. How are roads racist when black people can't get driver's licenses?
Right. That's what they've told us. So.
Huh. Where's my pudding? Tweets, so Joe doesn't do anything before 9 a.m. and he does nothing after 9:03 a.m. Sounds about right. That's a long day. 180 seconds. Whew. Yeah, get a nap in, Joe. And I'm sure he did. Mark Moderman. Keith, don't you remember that Nancy Pelosi was opening up Capitol Police stations around the country? But I won't believe that they would be in blue cities. Red, yes.
I actually hadn't heard that. Capitol Police are around the nation now?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
There was a story a while ago about that.
Wow, I missed that. I knew that the Chinese had police stations.
Yeah, they had one in, was it New York City?
Yeah.
Running a secret little communist police station there.
And then
that's great.
Yesterday, they, of course, revealed that there was 2 men under suspicion now of a surprise going after Chinese nationals. And so they,
dissidents.
Of course, did that during the New York City Judiciary Committee hearing.
That's great.
Convenient.
Speaking of crime, Portland State University has quietly returned guns to its campus police force nearly 3 years after the anti-police protests and riots that drove the Oregon school to disarm security officers. Unfortunately, the environment around PSU campus has changed since that time. What? I won't hear of it.
Right.
They cited rising crime, an increase in weapons near campus, and a lack of support from the Portland Police Bureau for the policy change. Student activists had lobbied for years to have campus police disarmed. Because, you know what? More guns means more death. More guns, more killing. And we've known that for how long?
That's what I hear.
Ever since it's been chanted, we knew it. But it wasn't until the height of the 2020 protests, which raged for more than 100 consecutive nights, that Portland State announced its officers would stop routinely carrying guns on patrol.
That'll fix it.
We can do an effective job without weapons. Portland State Campus Safety Chief Will Halliburton told the Oregonian at the time, I know they're talented enough to do their jobs without the use of a weapon, but then Crime increased 3 years in a row across Portland. Yeah.
I can't believe
isn't that
this
something?
story at all.
The city smashed its previous homicide record in 2021. Then they smashed that record last year.
And this is Portland, Oregon there?
Yeah.
Where REI, the outdoor company, just moved its flagship station, closed the doors. They're like, we're out.
Wow. Many businesses have fled the city due to repeated burglaries and vandalism. Portland State reversed course on February 14th, but they didn't announce the change until this week. I'm sure they were trying to keep that nice and quiet. But that just goes to show it doesn't work out to defund the police, to disarm the police. It's not a good idea. What is the matter with you? Use your noodles, people. Representative Katie Porter was on with the Coven yesterday. This is fun because she was able to invent some new powers for the United States Congress on the show.
The problem is, how do you police the Supreme Court? Congress absolutely can and should police the Supreme Court. Residual power for our government is in Congress, not in the executive branch, not with the president, and not with the Supreme Court. And that's because we're the closest to the people. People elect and unelect us every 2 years. And so Congress can pass a judicial code of ethics for the Supreme Court. And when we do, by the way, we need to learn from our own mistakes with our congressional codes of ethics, in which we have seen this exact same play, which is, oops, I'll tell you about it later. And people get off the hook for it. And what it does is it erodes trust in government. It makes people think that Congress is corrupt, that court is corrupt, that they can't trust their federal officials. And I don't care what your political views are. A lack of trust in government is a terrible thing to witness in a democracy. And we all need to be part of pushing for more accountability.
Well, then that's fine because we're not one. So that doesn't apply here.
Takes care of that.
Yeah, sure does.
She is so...
All the extra powers reside with Congress. No, Congress doesn't have extra powers.
I thought they went to the
they're
states.
separate but equal.
Separate but equal, yeah.
Separate but equal.
Why
powers.
are we always having to explain our
I don't know.
governmental
to
setup?
the stinking people who've been elected to represent us? They don't understand it. No, you cannot police the Supreme Court. That she wants to be a senator now. And yesterday, the Senate Majority Leader was in a weird mood. Here's something interesting from Chuck Schumer.
Wait. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, so he does this little Senate Majority Leader thing. I don't know. He was in a goofy mood yesterday. I wasn't even gonna send this clip in until the second clip we have of Chuck Schumer. But let's play this. How he walks up to the podium, just in a weird mood.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Who's happy to be here? Raise your hands.
What a goofball.
Okay, weird.
And nobody, they were just like, where's the real Chuck Schumer? What is this?
And it apparently didn't end there with him.
No, watch this.
All right.
Okay. First, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Or should I read it? Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And thanks so much for being here. Okay.
Weird.
I think he was drunk. Had to have been downing vodka in the back with Nancy, right?
Yeah.
That's weird, man. Okay. Well, I'm glad he was in a good mood.
Yeah.
Just strange.
But look who finally returned to his job. It's our favorite senator from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman.
All right.
A little overdressed for the Senate, obviously.
Senator.
Got a hoodie and shorts.
How are you feeling, Senator?
Senator, are you confident you can serve your full 6 years?
Dressed for success. Good to be back. No, thank you.
No.
Thank you, sir.
That's all he had.
Thank you, sir.
Good to be back. Thank you.
And there he goes.
He walks sideways. Like he leans when he walks.
And into the Senate he goes. Again, a little overdressed for the gig, I'd say. The hoodie and shorts, that's just, a little too formal for me.
Well, he's new on the job.
Yeah.
So he no protocols.
Right.
And so, like you said, he comes back.
He didn't want to show anybody up, but he did anyway. So
wait, can we play that again? I want to check out his neck. Which side had the big growth thing on it? Which was?
I think it was the right side.
How you doing, Senator?
But that's why I think
Senator.
It's gone.
Let's see. Is it gone?
I don't know. I think they cut it right out.
Feeling, Senator?
It's hard to tell because he wears the hoodie all the time.
6 years.
Great to be back.
You're going to make the whole 6 years? Good to be back.
Oh, wait a minute.
Thank you, sir.
So, I don't
Hard to
see
tell.
it. I thought it was on. So put the camera on me for a second here, if you would. I thought it was over here.
So did I.
And then when he did the publicity photos, which I don't think we can find in nanosecond here, remember he was sitting at the table like this. So I think it was, I bet he had, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, that it got removed and then
maybe
he was turned away from the camera, it was healing up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm. There he is, Uncle Fester, looking good as always.
No.
Okay, well, whatever lobotomy or what have you he underwent there, yeah,
he looked fit,
under the
ready
guise
to go
of depression. Then you know,
and maybe that's where he had the goiter removed.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot was
know.
going on while he was away.
I think so. Yeah.
But I hope he's better, and I hope he's
I don't
feeling
want
good
anything
about himself.
bad to happen
Yeah,
to him.
I don't want him depressed. I want him to get in there and serve the people of his state who elected him and got themselves a real winner now. 6 years.
Our favorite U.S. Senator.
Got to be, right?
He's a good one. He's a really good one.
If you can't have a Rand Paul or a Ted Cruz, now you got a John Fetterman. Awesome.
How proud they must be in Pennsylvania. Yep, that's our boy right there. Tucker Carlson sat down with Elon Musk last night. People are always interested in what Elon Musk has to say. And Tucker asked him about Twitter losing 80% of its workforce once he took over.
At Twitter, one of the great business stories of the year.
I think we're about 20% of the original size.
So 80% left.
Yes.
So
I mean, a lot of people voluntarily.
Sure, but it's 80% are gone from the day you took over.
That's correct. Yes.
So how do you run the company with only 20% of the staff?
It turns out you don't need that many people to run Twitter.
But 80%? That's a lot.
Yes. I mean, if you're not trying to run some sort of glorified activist organization and you're not care that much about censorship, then you can really let go of a lot of people, it turns out.
Get rid of a lot of people, it turns out. 80%.
If you're not going to be an activist organization, nice. The two had a nice moment, too, where Elon and Tucker discussed the New York Times. And it would have looked something like this.
Of their badge, and then you called them diarrhea. You did. I'm just quoting you.
Yeah.
You described their Twitter feed as diarrhea.
I said it was the Twitter equivalent of diarrhea.
Okay, it's not literally diarrhea.
No, it's it's a metaphor.
That's awesome. So true too.
Elon also talked about free speech and the difference between he and Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook.
The goal of new Twitter is to be as fair and even-handed as possible. So not favoring any political ideology, but just being fair at all.
Why doesn't Facebook do this? I know that Zuckerberg has said, and I take him at face value, that he. I do actually in this way, that he is a kind of old-fashioned liberal who doesn't like to censor. He has, but he, like, why wouldn't a company like that take the stand that you have taken, which is pretty rooted in American traditional political custom, for free speech?
My understanding is that Zuckerberg spent $400 million in the last election, nominally in a get-out-the-vote campaign, but really fundamentally in support of Democrats. Is that accurate or not accurate?
That is accurate. Yes.
Does that sound unbiased to you?
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
So you don't see hope that Facebook will approach this as a non-aligned arbiter? You've allowed Donald Trump back on Twitter. He hasn't taken you up on your offer because he's got his own thing.
Right.
Do you think he will go back on Twitter?
Well, that's obviously up to him. My job is to, I take the freedom of speech just very seriously. So it's I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I actually voted for Biden. Not saying I'm a huge fan of Biden, because I would think that would probably be inaccurate. But we have difficult choices to make in these presidential elections. It's not. I would prefer, frankly, that we put someone, just a normal person, as president, a normal person with common sense, and whose values are smack in the middle of the country. Center of the normal distribution, and I think that would be great.
He also talked about the kind of access the federal government had at Twitter, including users' personal communications.
The degree to which various government agencies had effectively had full access to everything that was going on Twitter blew my mind. I was not aware of that.
Would that include people's DMs?
Yes. Yes, because the DMs are not encrypted. So one of the things that we're about to release is the ability to encrypt your DMs.
That's pretty heavy duty, though, because a lot of well-known people, reporters talking to their sources, government officials, the richest people in the world, they're DMing each other. And the assumption, obviously, it was incorrect, but was that that's private, but that was being read by various governments.
Yeah, that seems to be, yes.
Yep.
It's scary.
Yes, it is. Like I said, we're moving to have the DMs be optionally encrypted. I mean, there's like a lot of DM conversations which are, just chatting with friends. It's not important.
Of course.
That's hopefully coming out later this month, but no later than next month, is the ability to toggle encryption on or off. So if you are in a conversation you think is sensitive, you can just toggle encryption on, and then no one at Twitter can see what you're talking about. They could put a gun to my head, and I couldn't tell. I couldn't. That's sort of the gun to the head test. If someone puts a gun to my head, and can I still not see your DMs? That's the acid test.
Yes.
And that's how it should be if you want your.
Have you had complaints from various governments about doing this?
I haven't had direct complaints to me. I've had sort of like some indirect complaints. I think people are a little concerned about complaining to me directly in case I tweet about it. They're like, uh-oh. So they're sort of trying to be more roundabout than that. I mean, if I got something that was unconstitutional from the U.S. government, I would say, my reply would be to send them a copy of the First Amendment and just say, what part of this are we getting wrong?
All right. Cool. More coming up in just a minute.
Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. Great to have you with us. Got some tweets here. Joe the World Liquor tweets, Joe has taken the Blaze programming methodology and applied it to the presidency. 3 minutes of presidenting crammed into just 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost a full 3 minutes, too. Crammed into just 24 hours. He's a hard worker.
Yeah, he is.
Devin Crossley tweets, I'm sure Jim Jordan was enjoying the laughs inside, but he's professional and asked for it to stop. Just Tony, they didn't cut off the goiter. The goiter evolved and broke away from the host.
Oh, God. What?
And is now the Senator Fetterman you see. Okay,
nice.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Truth Seeker, was Chuck Schumer mocking the greatest president in the history of the United States, President Joey, by reading his typed-out greeting? I'm not sure. Also, this is fun. Mayor Jacob Fry signed change allowing the Muslim call to prayer at any time in Minneapolis.
Awesome.
5 times a day, right? It's one of the few. It's the biggest city in the country. One of the few cities in the country that's okayed it for all 5 times.
Perfect.
So that's great.
That is going to be awesome.
Yeah. It's this 5 times a day.
It's beautiful.
Over loudspeakers, like this.
Good morning.
5 times a day.
Good morning, Minneapolis.
That'll be great, won't it? So he had to change the law in the city's noise ordinance so that they could do that. and it'll be broadcast atop the city's 20 mosques at any time of the day.
Anytime. So I don't know that it's just the 5.
Good.
It's really whenever we want to pray.
When the changes take effect on Friday, Minneapolis will become the first major American city to allow all 5 daily calls to prayer to be amplified outdoors at any time, including early morning hours, before sunrise, and late evening after sunset. So the
I love
residents
it.
have that going for them.
I love this.
How much would you love that in your neighborhood?
I want the young people, the hipsters, the 20-somethings that have that awesome pad. You're so proud of it. You get it all set up. Maybe it's a flat down in the hip district of Minneapolis. And you got it all the way you want. The windows are open. It's a nice early fall day there in Minneapolis. And you're just kind of chillaxing on a Saturday morning. And then the next thing you hear is...
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
And don't you dare complain about it, millennial.
No.
Listen up, millennial.
We don't want any of that hateful Islamophobia
This
going on.
is tolerance, and you will deal with this accordingly.
Inclusion.
Yeah.
Diversity.
I don't want to hear one peep about
better not
your mellow getting harshed over a Muslim prayer.
Oh man, jeez. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I know.
Should be every American city, shouldn't it?
Yeah. My apologies to the patheads. I've been trying to convince Lance to pull that down just a little bit there because I don't want you jumping out of your chair this morning.
Well, that's how loud it's going to be in your community
That's
when
right.
we all become this diverse.
And by the way, if you're trying to figure out where you're going to live inside the city of Minneapolis based on the proximity to your local mosque, then you're hateful.
Well, yeah.
If you're like, hey, I don't want to live where I'm going to be, jolted out of bed pre-dawn hours. Then
And there's 20 of them.
20. Good luck with
you
that.
Imagine that? 20 mosques in Minneapolis.
Think I'm going to St. Paul.
Wow. 20.
Oh.
That's a serious Muslim population.
So, hang on a second. Oh, this is going to take me a moment. I got to wake up my computer here. But I want to see Pat. I want to watch. I'm going to watch Minnesota Twins games now. I want to find out if there's one close to the stadium where the Twins play. Because you can be watching the outdoor game. They got the roof open. I don't know. Is it retractable? Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, and I want to see if you can hear in the background. Find out what times the prayers are. Yeah. Watch the game at that time and be like, okay, wait, listen. and
there it is. All right.
And then you're like the DiCaprio meme. You've got your drink in your hand and your cigarette, and you're like, wait, there it is. I hear it in the background. It's the third inning, and I hear it.
With 20 mosques and all amplified from the top of the bill, that's got to be heard. That's got to be heard at the stadium.
And it better be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise you're not inclusive enough. You're not getting to everybody who's in the area that needs to be called to pray.
It doesn't appear that...
But there's one near the stadium?
Yeah, it's across the interstate.
Oh, no.
Oh, my. The Masjid Darul Cuba, Q-U-B-A, cultural. Oh, that's a cultural center. All right, well, okay, there's the mosque. Okay, so it's probably as the crow flies. How long is that? That far? It's not that far.
So it's 3 inches from the stadium?
So you might hear it.
Wow, yeah.
Bottom of the fourth, man, in a pitcher's duel.
I think you might hear it. Yeah, that's close.
I had to get back to you on that, but I'm going to find out because I'm going to start listening during Twins games.
Also, this is fun. Consumers Research this week announced the launch of Woke Alerts, a digital notification service that informs users when companies engage in political activism. Those who sign up will receive text message updates informing them of these moves in light of the recent direction taken by companies like Bud Light, Jack Daniels, and Bank of America, we're launching woke alerts to help consumers make better informed decisions about where to spend their money. That's according to Consumers Research President Will Hild.
This is cool.
We believe companies should focus on their customers and not woke politicians and progressive activists, nor should they be compelled to act in a certain way based on pressure from ESG extremists. That's great.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's a really good service. Beyond a simple alert, the service aims to articulate the motivations of such practices and highlight the interior goings-on of those woke firms that may drive activist efforts. I wonder if people are going to wake up after this Bud Light debacle. Will they take a page from Anheuser-Busch and maybe avoid the kind of trap they fell into? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they lost $6 billion in market evaluation. And who knows how many customers they've lost. And I'm sure they're counting on, well, people are going to forget. This will calm down. They'll go back to Bud Light.
Well, it doesn't feel that way.
They won't like the alternatives that they're trying, and a lot of them will come back. And that might be true.
Yuengling is America's oldest brewery, I would like to point out.
What is?
Yuengling.
Yuengling?
You're a beer drinker.
Oh,
Pat.
okay.
You know.
Yuengling. Is that the owner of Bud now?
No. That's a beer company based in Pennsylvania.
Yuengling?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
all right.
And so I think they're going to see an increased market share coming up. Shiner, based in Texas. So I think there's a market opening. By the way, as you mentioned, you could do up to 5 prayers a day in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Between 5:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. And there's this mosque is less than a mile away from U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis where
I'll
the
bet
Twins
you'll be
play.
able to hear that.
Oh, I'm looking. Boy, when do the Twins play at home again?
That's going to be fun. Iconic horror novelist and avowed left-winger Stephen King been getting a serious spanking on Twitter after implying, how dare he? He implied that men can't get pregnant. What a buffoon!
Whoa, easy.
What are you talking about, Stephen? Men can't get pregnant. Come on.
That. There's the tweet that will...
It has been said before, he tweeted, but it bears repeating. If men could get pregnant, abortion would be a sacrament.
Oh, look at him. He's trying to do a dig at men that want babies to live.
Instead, it backfired on him with the trans community. What do you mean men can't get pregnant?
I love this. I love it.
What a world. Oh, man. King, obviously, amid a ghastly mistake, posted the following. Well, we already told you what he posted. Has he apologized yet, though? I'm not seeing the apology yet.
Oh, bro, he better have.
And maybe that's not coming until today, but you know it's on the way. You know it is. I didn't mean to offend men who get pregnant.
When you think you got a dig at conservatives or men or whatever, and then it backfires on you like that.
Eagle-eyed Twitter users were all over it, as in, what does he mean if?
I love it when they eat their own.
Because the new gender gospel of the left declares that men can be women, women can be men, and despite not having female reproductive body parts, men most definitely can become pregnant.
Oh, sure, yes.
A doctor testified on Capitol Hill that they can. So, obviously, Stephen King didn't think this through. Here's a few of the reactions. Comedian Tim Young,
friend of the program,
said Stephen King is transphobic now. He'd better check his leftist lunatic notebook before posting next time. Actor Matthew Marsden, who believes Hollywood penalizes conservative actors and said he lost a job for being unvaccinated, took no prisoners with the... He said, it's 2023, dude. Men can get pregnant. And from the Blaze's Rob Eno. Wow, how unwoke. Men can get pregnant. That's what we're told daily now by the elites. Yeah, so hopefully
I'm just
the
not...
apology is on the way today. That's what I'm hoping.
I'm just not seeing one yet. If there is one, then...
it's got to be on the way, right? He can't just let that lay. He'll be in the same position as J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I see a Daily Caller headline that says, being a liberal can get confusing. Uh-huh.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I just love
you can't keep your nonsense straight. Jeez.
That is so great.
I love it. It is the best when they eat their own. It's fantastic. North Carolina archaeologists, Waccamaw Siouan tribe.
Okay. Not as easy to say as Lumbee.
No. They discovered a 930-year-old Native American canoe in a lake. Nearly millennium-old Native American canoe was fished out of a North Carolina lake last Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
The North Carolina Office of State Archaeology and the Waccamaw Siouan tribe joined forces to pull the 930-year-old canoe out of Lake Waccamaw. That's exciting stuff. Several people were needed to retrieve the enormous 28-foot-long wooden canoe. Oh, wow. The boat appeared well-preserved despite deteriorating underwater. For years and years, we've always been questioned about our history and where we come from and who we are. Now, we have a physical history to back it up.
Cool.
Group of teens found the canoe 2 years ago. And apparently they stumbled upon it while swimming. We were throwing mussels at each other, and I stepped on it and thought it was a log. I tried to pick it up, and it never came up. So we kept digging at it, and we just kept going. And the next day, we came back and started digging some more and just kept going. So now the canoe, now that it's been dug up and removed from the lake, will reportedly be taken to Greenville, North Carolina, to be preserved and studied. 930 years old. That is kind of cool.
Were there any guns in that boat?
Not in this particular one, no. I'm sure it wasn't deep enough. If you can be swimming and step on it, that wasn't a deep enough lake or body of water at all.
You're going to need those for the federal government coming after you later.
All right, let me tell you about Real Estate Agents I Trust. If you've ever bought or sold a house in your life, you know the process is, it can be overwhelming. On the selling end, it's hard to know what things you should focus on the most. Do you get the deck repaired? Do you replace the carpets? Man, in my house, the answer is yes. With grandchildren, yes. We have to replace the carpets. How about the roof? Just did that, it's been 2 years since that big hailstorm where everybody replaced their roof. Mm-hmm. Paint the interiors, exteriors, maybe. If so, what colors? And do you replace countertops and redo bathrooms and all of those things? Well, these are the things that your realtor can help you with, and that's where you turn to Real Estate Agents I Trust. They're the ones who know. They're the ones with the know-how and the experience to help you get through this process. RealestateAgentsITrust.com. Give them a call today. Our team will contact you and make an introduction to our preferred agent in your area. RealestateAgentsITrust.com.
Pat Gray, Unleashed.
Welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah. I'll tax your seat. Tax the heat. I'll tax your feet. Because I'm the tax man. Yeah. So great. You can tell about the time the Beatles started making a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Because they got pissed off that Britain was taking most of it from them. And that's why, it's one of the big reasons that John Lennon, at least, moved to the U.S. He was tired of, 80 or 90% of his money being taken from him. It's interesting that they had some songs that you could say were pretty darn conservative. Taxman being one of them. Revolution being another one. where, if you go showing pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't going to make it with anyone anyhow. And then later he supposedly regretted writing that line. Wait, you regret mocking or reviling against Chairman Mao? Okay. The guy who was responsible for killing 60 million Chinese. That's the person that you regret talking about. Okay. All right.
I was just looking up income tax rates about the time that song was released, 1965.
I think they were pretty high.
Yeah, I'm not
Britain.
finding what they were in the 60s. I just saw a quick thing roll by here that said after World War II. Okay, so remember how we talked about earlier that the income tax rates were as high as 97% in the United States.
If you made over a certain amount of money.
Yeah. So, I mean, what,
over $1 million or something, it was 97%.
At that point, why do you even try?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And that's the goal of Marxism and a progressive tax. That's exactly what it's for. But they were as high in Britain at the time. After the Second World War, they peaked at 99.25%.
Oh, my God.
It was then slightly reduced
to
around 90% through the 50s and 60s, about the time the song came out. So, obviously, the Beatles, being successful, would have been giving 90% of their income.
That to the federal government.
Get out my face.
Insane.
It is absolutely insane.
Insane. Jeez.
And that's I do not understand Britain. I haven't read enough on their modern history, but I don't understand how they completely had no use for Winston Churchill. They
got rid of him as quickly as they could after the war.
Well, yeah. So before the war and right after the war, they only wanted him during the war, and then they were done with him and on to socialism.
Yep.
And I've never understood that transformation, a rapid transformation for a society. And but there you go. I mean, you got your high income tax rates. I'd get the hell out of that country too.
No kidding. 90%? Yeah, no thank you. No thank you. Loudoun County, Virginia's public schools are spending almost $11 million to renovate the bathrooms at 2 high schools. Why? To make them co-ed. They're trying to make sure that transgender students don't feel left out. Okay, isn't that great? 2 years. This happens 2 years after a boy wearing a skirt brutally raped a 9th grade girl in a bathroom.
In Virginia.
Yeah, in that school district.
Oh, that same school district?
Yeah, in Loudoun County.
Okay.
One of the high schools is Broad Run High School, where the boy abducted and sexually assaulted the girl in a classroom after Loudoun County Public Schools quietly transferred him there after he was arrested for the bathroom rape at another school. I mean, what does it take? What's going to have to happen before we come to our senses again in this country? The $11 million renovation in the 2 schools is a pilot for a change that the school board is considering making at all of its schools. This is the county where all the parents were showing up and complaining to the school district about their ridiculous policies, one of them being their transgender policies, the bathroom situation. And now they're going to remodel them for $11 million so that they can be co-ed. That's unbelievable. So you don't even have to be, if they're going to be co-ed, you don't even have to be trans to go into the women's bathroom or to share the bathroom with the girls.
I don't know.
How can this be? How does this happen? We have absolutely lost our way in this country. A grand jury investigating the school system's handling of the rape, and which indicted the superintendent for allegedly lying when he said the school system had no record of bathroom sexual assaults, found that during the rape in Stonebridge High School's girls' bathroom, a staff member walked in and the gap under the stall door allowed her to see that multiple people were in it. However, the teacher did nothing.
Oh, God.
Despite coming into the stall while the girl was lying on the floor with the boy on top of her.
Oh, gosh.
And realizing that there were 2 people in there, she testified that this was not an uncommon occurrence.
What?
Because somebody could have their period. They might need a, feminine product. Or somebody had a boyfriend they had a fight with. What?
What is
the rapist himself suggested that the officials routinely turned a blind eye to multiple people in a stall. They usually don't do anything about it, he said, according to the grand jury.
How big are these stalls?
I don't know. Virginians for Common Sense tweeted that the design that the far-left school board, Atusa Reeser, included in the school board, boasted would offer complete privacy. They would also provide complete opportunity for misconduct. It enables assault and drug use and provides no escape route. It's also less sanitary. There would be no urinals, leaving teenage girls to share a toilet used by boys. This sounds really like a really wonderful idea, doesn't it? This sounds really, I think this is going to work out really well for them. I can't imagine anything going wrong.
Life is a Babylon Bee article now.
I know. Wow.
I mean, protect your girls. Get them out of public schools. Period. This is insane.
It's time. It's time because these school boards, these superintendents, they have no common sense whatsoever. And they're doing all of this in the interest that they're trying to make sure that trans boys are not uncomfortable going to their own bathroom. Unbelievable.
It's unreal.
No concern for the girls. Don't worry about what they think or feel. Wow. Proving once again that it only takes one really good season in the NFL to have it made for life. Jalen Hurts just signed the biggest player contract of all time.
Oh.
Highest paid player in National Football League history. He's going to make $51 million a year now. $51 million a year.
Does it say how much is guaranteed?
Yeah, he signed a 5-year, $255 million deal. $179 million of that guaranteed.
Okay, because the Ravens trying to get Mr. Lamar Jackson to sign a contract, and they've put $200 million in guaranteed money on the table.
Oh, wow.
And he's yet to sign that, so we'll see. What did Deshaun Watson end up getting? Man, that is such
a lot. I think that was around $45 million or so.
Guaranteed?
Wasn't it?
Guaranteed 230. 230. And boy,
wow,
that's really paying off so far. Again, big thanks to the Cleveland Browns for swooping in at the last moment and taking him away from the asinine franchise that is the Atlanta Falcons, who wanted Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And boy, that's...
I understand that they might be up for Will Levis from Kentucky.
Who's that? The Falcons?
Quarterback. Yeah.
No, the Falcons in?
Yeah. They're one of the teams that are perhaps vying for Will Levis. No? You haven't heard that?
I have not heard that.
Aren't they the 4th pick or 5th?
No, they're 8th, I believe.
8th.
Desmond Ridder is the ship that they're sailing on right now. So,
and he's doing pretty well, right? Or not?
Well, I mean, he got to start the last 4 games of the season, and his QB rating increased every week.
To what? What was the...
Marcus Mariota is now in Philadelphia, backing up Jalen Hurts. So, he's your problem, Eagles fans, not the Falcons.
Okay.
No, the draft coming up, what's today's date? It's the 18th, so about 9 days from now, Thursday night, April 27th.
Yeah, I'm
looking forward to that.
Be fun. Should be fun. I don't know that anybody really fully knows for sure who's going first in the draft this time.
I think you could see a big trade. There's a lot of talk, but the first 3 picks could end up being quarterbacks. Yeah, it's.
Can you believe Jalen Hurts is going to make more money, only by $1 million, but still, he's going to make more money than Aaron Rodgers, a guy who's proven himself year in and year out in the NFL.
Well,
that's amazing.
How much is left in the tank for Mr. Isolation Chamber?
I don't know. We'll see. If he winds up with the Jets, we'll see.
Yeah, and I think
we'll see.
And I think the Jets, waiting to formalize that trade so that the Packers can stop asking for their, I think it's a 13th overall pick.
Yeah.
And so once it is no longer exists, then the Packers have to stop asking for it. I think that's why we're waiting on consummating that trade.
And somebody else who's much, much younger than Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who only makes, $45 million a year. $6 million less than Jalen Hurts is going to make.
What's his guaranteed? Do we know?
I don't know, but he signed a $450 million contract, so a lot of it was guaranteed. I forget how much, but $450 million over 10 years. So
don't forget,
you're looking now to see how much guaranteed.
Yeah. Don't forget, Matt Ryan's still available. He's got a year on a really big contract. So if anybody wants him, he's available. I feel so bad for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, it's sad.
$63 million?
No.
Guaranteed at signing.
That's it?
That's guaranteed at signing.
Huh?
So it just says, this guarantee as you go structure for Mahomes meant that when the contract was signed, the Chiefs had to put about $53 million into the escrow account. Oh, let me do that. For Mahomes' contract, the $63 million guaranteed at signing, less than $10 million signing bonus. Yeah, and he signed a 10-year deal?
Yeah, Mahomes? Yeah, it was 10 years. Yeah.
Whoops. I didn't factor in Bidenflation, did you there, Patrick?
That's right. He's going to be hurting. Yeah. Starting this year, he's going to be hurting.
They're going to be cutting coupons there at the old Mahomes household real soon.
That $45 million is only going to seem like $44 million.
You're going to burn right through it, bro.
You better tighten your belt right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's like spam again. Sorry. Dad signed a $45 million contract.
Maybe tomorrow night we can do top ramen, but that's it.
Okay.
That's all we can do.
Chicken flavored, right? Don't give me this beef crap.
Don't. On the Hurts deal, it includes a $110 million signing bonus. Isn't that nice? That's nice. $110 million signing bonus.
That's how they operate here with contracts at the Blaze, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the signing bonus is just like ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah, so you're set. You're just really, really set. So it's nice. Yeah, that part's really nice.
Good.
James Comer, who is a congressman, took on the Biden crime family yesterday. Had some things to say about it. Apparently, they've discovered some stuff, and he's out talking about it now.
And let me be very clear. This isn't just about the president's son or the president's brother. We've identified 6 new Biden family members involved in shady foreign transactions that we believe were a direct result of influence peddling. That brings the number of Biden family members now to 9 that were involved in the Biden family influence peddling. And we still have more family members that we suspect were involved. So this is a family affair. This is something that should be troubling to every American. And what we've learned from going through these records are there are a lot of additional LLCs, a lot of additional bank accounts that we didn't know prior to going to the Treasury Cabinet. So we've learned a lot. This investigation is ongoing, but I can tell you without hesitation, it's very serious, and the President of the United States is going to have a very hard time explaining how so many of his family members have received so much money from our adversaries around the world.
Isn't that interesting?
Do what must be done over there. Hunter, put down the crack pipe for a minute. Make me some more money from the Ukrainians. I'll just take 20% off the top over there.
Business. Nine Biden crime family members. 9 of them.
James Comer is on top of that on the House side. On the Senate side is Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, who tells the Washington Times that the records that they have access to show the Biden family involved with the now defunct CEFC China Energy, which had connections, obviously, to the Chinese Communist Party. We're up to millions of transactions between Hunter Biden and China alone.
God, it's just amazing.
So good.
And, they're getting more and more, Comer said, we're getting more and more bank records all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And some banks just refuse to turn over the records. They're just not going to. But they're finding enough so far that they're making some real progress on this. And will it go anywhere? I doubt it. But, I mean, if they can find the proof that they've been on the take all this time from, the Chinese and Ukraine, I mean, doesn't it have to go somewhere? Yeah.
You hope so, right?
You would hope so.
But that information Ron Johnson is referring to is from Cathay Bank. So millions just with that one company alone.
And Cathay Bank is, I think that's the bank with some, they have branches in China, right? And so they release some of the records. And
they do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting that they're sharing some of that information with the U.S. government.
Everything's fine, though.
Everything's fine.
We're good.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a wonderful president who's doing a great job, and I think everybody knows that, don't they? Let me tell you about Nugenix. This is a way to get back into the shape that you used to be, to feel like the man you want to feel like, to get more energy, to counter the negative physical effects of aging. Nugenix Total T testosterone booster with Testofen. It'll help you turn back the clock. It'll re-energize your workouts. It'll get you better results at the gym, and you'll look and feel like the guy you really want to be. It contains, Nugenix Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like Testofen. It's been validated in 5 clinical studies to boost free testosterone levels in men. It's the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Now you can get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text 231231 and enter the keyword Unleashed. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, which is their most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you get back into shape really fast. Absolutely free. Text 231231, enter the keyword Unleashed. That's 231231, enter the keyword Unleashed. Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
So the Biden family, the Biden crime family. Mm-hmm. Oh, and some NFL quarterbacks doing really well financially right now.
Yeah.
But the rest of us, not so much, apparently. The average interest rate for credit card accounts is 20% greater, and those accruing interest is 21%. Both numbers are the highest they've ever been since the Fed began tracking this in 1994. Wow. Huh. Okay, so the highest they've been since 1994. And I think we have the chart to show
Look
you.
at that. Delinquency rate on credit card loans, all commercial banks. Look at that in the last year. It's
you can't
bad.
You almost can't go up more than that.
Oh, it's so bad.
Right? Look at that. Jeez. So the number of people going delinquent on credit card loans is over 40%.
Well,
right
no,
now.
that's the percentage change from a year ago.
Okay, that's
So
right. It says so on the left-hand side there.
So we're up 45%.
So it's up. Wow.
That's not good. That's really bad.
Are you saying that's suboptimal?
I'm saying that not all of us can have the last name Biden, unfortunately.
Man,
you think they're having trouble? You think they have credit cards?
The Bidens?
The Biden family? I swear.
Man.
The words.
I don't know.
The words I want to say.
Really? Are they naughty? Do you want to say naughty words?
I sure do.
I can't imagine that, Keith, coming out of your mouth.
That's true. It's so
Can't even
it's
imagine
so,
it.
It's so rare, y'all, that I let
gosh.
those words slip out to describe the Biden family.
You'd never heard it. And so when it does happen, it's such a surprise.
It's a shock, right? When
it's like, wait, you haven't said that word in about 30 seconds.
When was the last commercial break? Is it? I mean, it's madness. It's madness living on this timeline.
I know.
It's just the things that we have to talk about in this reality.
It's incredible.
Are unreal.
Meanwhile, we have this reality. Robin Hood in reverse. The Biden green agenda is raising prices for consumers and profits for Democratic donors. Surprise! Biden announced plans last week to require that 2/3 of all U.S. car sales by 2032 be electric vehicles. So 2/3 of all U.S. car sales in 9 years have to be electric.
Oh.
And impose the strongest ever emissions restrictions on gas cars. Like much of the green agenda, the proposals stand to raise costs for everyday Americans while swelling profits for Democrat mega donors.
Man, this is infuriating.
A recent CNBC survey found that 58% of Americans are currently living paycheck to paycheck. 70% feel financially burdened due to inflation, rising interest rates. How about taxes? Jeez. Today might be a day when you're kind of feeling that pinch as well.
I mean, it's bad enough.
Writing out another check.
That they do this to us through these green energy policies. But now it's threatening our national security. Never mind our own personal financial security, but now you're messing with the armed forces and their ability to defend us, and this is not going to end well.
And if you're going to force all of us into, or at least 2/3 of us, into electric vehicles, the price has to come down. The average cost for an EV as of this February was around $58,385. Over $58,000 for an EV. Cars are already more expensive than ever. Average monthly payments for new vehicles hit a record high of $730 a month in the first quarter of 2023. That's more than an 11% increase year over year. My gosh. Yeah, well, if it's going to cost $58,000, unless you put $40,000 down on it, it's going to cost you $730 a month. Americans have seen their utility bills rise sharply amid Biden's assault on carbon-based energy. March survey found that 3/4 of Americans claim their utility bills have increased by a minimum 25% within the last year alone.
Easily.
Of the respondents, 22% said they'd seen a 50% increase in their bill. 10% said the utilities have more than doubled over the previous year. And plus, if you've been to the gas pump in the last few days, that has skyrocketed as well.
Yeah, let's see here. Hang on. The average price, national average is $3.67 per gallon. Last week it was $3.60 per gallon. A month ago it was $3.45. And meanwhile, you've got Biden and this administration out there talking about, hey, gas prices are going down. And you don't even know where a gas station is.
No. I mean, they're quiet about it right now because they know the price is skyrocketing. And so rather than take credit for any decrease in the highest prices we've ever seen, and it went down a little bit, now they're just keeping their mouths shut because it's skyrocketing back up again. I can't stand these people. I really don't like them.
Yeah?
Yeah, with all the intensity of 10 trillion white-hot burning suns.
So we're up to 10 trillion?
10 trillion white-hot burning suns.
That's a new record, right?
Yes.
Because,
I think it is.
So you and I
going along with the
worked
record gas
together
prices
for 22 years now.
Yeah. And it used to be about 1 billion
That's what I thought.
burning suns.
I thought so.
Yeah.
It's gotten a little bit more, how we say, intense.
It's gotten more intense.
So I thought that story you started to read there was a part of this story that you have in front of you. Is that the Pentagon story? No, that's the DiCaprio. So the Pentagon is talking about how these green energy policies are threatening the security of our defenses. Shocker, right? By design, it's insanity. But This is from townhall.com. Wait till you hear this one, man. Climate change lunatics who want to ban beef and force everyone to eat bugs have a new target. According to AFP News, climate scientists are targeting rice farming as a dangerous emission-heavy practice. They say flooded rice fields, which then naturally ferment hay and other plants, produce too much methane, Pat. So rice, according to them, is these experts, is to blame for around 10% of global emissions of methane. And so they're now targeting rice field emissions. Say they can't be ignored, man. Do you know how many people are going to starve to death in this
Without
world?
rice?
I thought that was the miracle food that we delivered to people around the world. So if they're not allowing us to spray to kill mosquitoes in third world countries, now they're targeting rice. Your green policies are all about destroying human life, quite frankly, which they love, as we know, since they're the same people that love abortion. But what do you say to this?
And
stuff?
because the climate is their religion, it's good for them.
Yeah.
They like it that it's decreasing the surplus population.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's the goal. It's not to save the planet, it's to kill humans.
Yes.
And you talked.
Yes.
Speaking of climate freaks, DiCaprio, that story is amazing about fundraising in the Democrat Party. You know,
yeah, it's fun. This is another fun one.
Oh.
Apparently, DiCaprio hangs out with Malaysian financier Joe Low. Anyway, he was hanging out with him, I guess. He recounted a discussion that he had with Low, whose given name is Low Take Joe.
Low Take Joe?
Low Take Joe.
I like it.
It was a casual conversation, Leonardo says, about what party he was in support of. If he's hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio, what party do you think he's in support of? I'm going to guess the Democrats?
Well, this is DiCaprio talking about this other guy, right?
Yes.
While he's on is this like a deposition or something? He's on trial. He's not on trial, but he's
I think he's going to be.
Well, no, he's what do you call it? I don't know, whatever. They're deposing him. He's a witness to something here.
Well, because he made a significant donation to the Democrat Party that was somewhere to the tune of $20 to $30 million.
Oh.
I basically said, wow, that's a lot of money.
As a quote from DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Close quote.
DiCaprio took the witness stand during the trial of Percazarel Pros Michael of the Fugees, hip hop group. Fugees, yeah. It's not the Fugees. It's the Fugees.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've talked about the Fugees.
You used to play them, right?
I actually did play the Fugees. Yeah. Yep.
On the radio.
But it's been so long that I've forgotten how to pronounce the name of the band. Prosecutors say Michael received $21 million from Lowe and funneled the money to political committees through a series of straw donors, including various companies and people associated with the musician. Lowe and Michael enacted the conspiracy to gain access to and influence with Barack Obama, the U.S. Department of Justice stated. In one instance, an associate of Michael forwarded an email from him asking for financial contributions to Obama and told Lowe that funding would guarantee you a maximum 15 minutes audience with Obama.
I mean, this is money laundering.
Again,
bribery.
Can you imagine if these were Republicans? And it was Trump?
This is getting no traction out there, by the way.
None at all.
This is foreign money.
Right.
I mean, it's everything.
DiCaprio is one of several prominent figures linked to Lowe, a fugitive, who's facing separate federal criminal charges, so he is probably going to go on trial eventually, for allegedly embezzling $4.5 billion from 1MDB, a wealth fund created by the Malaysian government. He embezzled $4.5 billion? And nobody noticed?
Yeah, this was 2 weeks ago that DiCaprio testified in a federal court about this. And again, you're hearing it like nowhere. It took 2 weeks to get on the radar of someone who follows this stuff constantly to prep for this show. And I hadn't even heard about this until yesterday. Shame on me. But it's just
incredible.
It's a...
And
Boy,
then
it was
you
fun.
got the Fujis. You got Leonardo DiCaprio. You got this guy Lowe, who's on the run. He's a fugitive from justice right now. It's a fun story too. It's a fun story. I mean, this is something that the press should love to cover.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of celebrities. You got Barack Obama. And you got embezzling $4.5 billion, and nobody's talking about this.
So you got this guy in Malaysia stealing money from the Malaysian government, right?
Yeah.
To the Democratic Party.
And
nobody cares.
funneling it here.
Nobody cares.
To Barack Obama, and nobody's talking about it. Oh, all right. Wow.
That seems like it's a problem.
It kind of does, yeah.
And that's guaranteed money, I'd like to point out, Patrick.
That is guaranteed
Patrick
money.
Mahomes.
Yeah, a lot. Yes.
You got to talk to somebody in Malaysia to get you some of that cash, bro.
All right. We'll see you on overtime and then back here tomorrow.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.